you just need to be like almost like schizophrenic in your approach to just constantly talking and creating fun in those early days. Like you're the person that is going to be the friend that people want to come back to.
So I think we'll wait for Bill from Monad. He's supposed to come any minute, and then we'll have like an interview with the Monad community that really were able to build like a very impressive culture. They didn't even launch their network, and they have like an amazing community without any coin. So that's for me very, very, very impressive. So we'll wait for him, and then we can ask him a bunch of questions regarding the Monad community. Okay, Bill is here. Hey, Bill.
Hey, what's going on? How we going?
Good, good. How are you?
Yeah, doing well. Recovering from my ACC, but other than that,
What?
we are full steam ahead.
I guess we can jump right in. Like, okay, so basically the purpose of this day is to explore, different cultures and what's like how they started and kind of trying to dive into them and make the case that culture is everything, like the most important thing in crypto, and yeah, just speak about Monad culture and how it got started. And are you ready to start?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm keen. Let's jump into it. Basically, I've been in marketing my entire kind of career. Went to university for marketing, and then ended up after COVID falling into an agency that was doing community for NFTs. And this kind of was a lot of reps would do different companies, would do different collections, and would constantly kind of, bring in new people and run up their community, and then they'd try and mint and go on from there. So lots of reps and lots of seeing what worked well and what worked and what didn't work as well. And then towards the end of 2022, I ended up getting in contact with Keone and came on as the first kind of non-technical person at Monad and started building the community. There was a massive focus on community at that time, and that's why it was the kind of first thing we did before even much like marketing or writing or anything like that. So yeah, that's how we got the start.
Wow, amazing. Like, so the community focus was even 2 years ago?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, end of 2022. Then that was like when all the Discord was locked, and that was like a massive focus from the beginning. Yeah.
Wow. So what was the first kind of thinking about community, like how you got everything started? Because usually to start things is much harder than to grow things, right? So how did the first days of the community look like?
In the beginning, it was so we had some tailwinds. We certainly had some tailwinds, and that was around like getting shout outs from Kobe. That was around just like a bit of the network that Keone had and a few people had. But apart from that, it started in a very unassuming way. The Discord was locked and it opened for a short period of time. And I think that this was a massive advantage. We used kind of time pressure and like locked. So like to play with these things, it's really powerful because you can create like a fear of missing out. You can create like very powerful incentives with time pressure, it makes things more scarce and more valuable for them to be locked, because if it's open, then anyone can get that value. But if it's locked, then there's like secret value in there that not everyone can get. So for the beginning, that was one of the powerful kind of ways that we activated people. But basically, it was just us in a group chat doing 200 messages, or me in a group chat with maybe 200, 300, 400 people doing 200 to 300 messages a day. And that was basically how it went for the first 8 months, 9, 10 months as well. That's the key there.
Wow, that's cool. And in the beginning, you had like emphasis on the type of culture that you want to create, or you just like went with the flow and
Yeah. No, there was no specific targeting or no like, you know, persona that we were targeting. It was mostly just activate the people that we have and see where we go. It's always been very reactive and like evolutionary in terms of the way our community has been. So we, uh, you know, utilized people's strengths and co-created and saw what was working and what didn't, and what people resonated with and what they didn't. And so, like, from that, we kind of got to a place of, where we are now, which is just kind of different than when we started, but it works at scale. Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
Mm.
In the beginning, what was the initial kind of mechanisms that you had in place regarding kind of the funnel? I would say like what was the funnel or what is the funnel regarding a community member, and then like someone, I guess, become more enthusiast, so he's getting like a role, and so how does the enthusiasm is being used, or how the feedback loop
Mm.
is kind of
Yes. So again, I think we use those a few of the kind of like psychological tactics around the locked and unlocked, the time pressure and the scarcity. So someone was interested and they knew what was going on. It seemed quite underground. Then they would have to reach out to one of us, and we'd give them like a link, a one-person link. That made it feel very valuable to them. It also made it feel very like intimate in the way that it was one-to-one. We'd have to message them particularly. And so through that, that gave them like, a lot of buy-in originally. And so that's how they channeled their enthusiasm. And then once they got in, there was just like an overwhelming sense of value that they were getting. These were kind of like high value people and high value conversations. So they would, any of those outputs, any of the memes of the day, any of the kind of, non-linear outputs that people create when they have a co-creation process, they would share those outwardly, which would then inspire that flywheel of people being like, oh, look, those people in that locked group are having fun. I need to get into it. And then, more people join, and you get kind of like a process or a wheel going, a flywheel going there.
It's amazing. Even if this group didn't meant anything, or didn't like, they just like separate group for the people that were more kind of engaged, and that was enough.
Yeah, it's all about the value in the group chats or in the chats. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, another thing that I really like in the Monad community is the rituals. I see Poker Tuesdays, I see like run clubs. So, what are some of the other rituals or kind of things that people can do together in the Monad community?
Yeah. So the rituals and events are kind of key. So they set like, you're competing for someone's time, basically, like where they can spend their time. So you're competing against things like TikTok, like YouTube, like, the real world. And so events are a key part. They kind of set like a cadence and allow you to own a time and pull people back onto your like owned platforms. So yeah, they can range from pure entertainment, like the poker nights or the draws events or the karaoke, or we have, what else we got? Yeah, like art contests, things like that. And then that goes all the way back to like pure tech, so like tech calls and office hours and things like that. And then you just need to make those as valuable as possible. So like picking on people, asking people questions, using their names, reaching out to them, particularly trying to like pull them out of their shell a little bit and make them feel at home. And then, yeah, just like having a good chat lead. I'm not very good at that because I'm not like, it's very hard to yap for like 1 hour and a half.
Yeah.
So having someone in control of that is really good. So we get people in to do that, and then we just kind of experiment with it and see what works and what doesn't, and what's boring, and when people drop off and when they don't. So yeah, just really creating those routines that people have. They know that anywhere in the world where they're at, Thursday evenings or whatever their localized time is, that's when you jump in and play poker for 1 hour and a half. You talk to your friends, you catch up on the week. And that just builds that cohesion and familiarity and keeps people coming back.
That's amazing. And since the Monad community got started, like, what would you say, top of your head, like, would be some of the values that unite the community around? Because they are very much, like, united and aligned. Like, what would you say some of the things that unites them in terms of values or something else that they have in common?
Yeah, so I think that people learn how to do community based on the previous projects that they've been a part of. And so we had to we kind of retaught a lot of them in terms of like being more value aligned with us. A lot of the people just like bring their own set of values to whatever protocol and they don't kind of change that much. But we really wanted to shift that to really focusing on the wholesome side of things, and like the real life community building things. So, we placed a large value and emphasis on friendships. People make legitimate friends in these communities, like actual friends. There's a loneliness crisis going on IRL. And so having a place where there's high signal people with similar interests that you talk to every day has massive potential for creating multiple friendships for everyone. So that was a massive thing that we placed value on. And then people return because of those friends. They create things. They go, we should create a business, a NFT, or whatever it might be, or an art collection, something like that. So friendships is massive. And then the other things that we placed kind of in part of that, the value that people place on it is like the status that people have. And that's just kind of natural community stuff, when people get platformed or roles or have visual cues, or get like praise and people sharing their things, they get more responsibility, and then their relationships kind of represent the status that they have. They're like a key member and they get more followers and more kind of clout, I guess. And so that's been a thing that we place value on, is recognizability and your status within the community. That's a very powerful drive for people. And so those are a couple of things. I mean, there's so many things that we offer in terms of or communities offer in terms of value. And so that's really what we place our emphasis on and what we hope people can get out of it. They can get opportunities, with these personal networks. They get, ecosystem roles, or their art career gets kicked off, or they get hired to do researching or something, and in that, like, upskilling, those people teach others around essentializing and simplifying information. They can just teach people how to write better tweets, how to trade better, how to use AI really well, what foods to eat, what foods not to eat, all sorts of things. So there's a huge opportunity there for upskilling too.
I mean, leadership/upscaling is very interesting. Like, how do you do that without being too kind of invasive? Like, how do you empower people to do things on their own in the community, like you tweeted, organize itself, or like take initiatives without telling them to? Like most of the time it's coming from the mods, or it's coming from the people themselves, that they express interest into it, or kind of both. Like, how leadership is being kind of empowered?
Yeah, I think it's a lot about hive minds, and it's a lot about like the interconnectedness of a community. Because if someone wants to run a node, for example, on Monad, it's like, we get that question probably, I don't know, 10 times a day, maybe. And so it would be the overhead on a single mod to answer every single question about running a node would be far too high. However, you basically just teach the community about timelines, about what the node requirements are, about like how to give people that information, and then they start giving that information to others. And so there's like the educated educate the uneducated, basically. And this works across all domains, like for writing tweets or something. Like if you have, the best practices for writing a tweet, which are like, have a great hook, like have good spacing, have like a beginning, a middle, an end, like do lists or make it engaging. The people that can do that will teach the people that can't do that. And it's not necessarily even just teaching explicitly, it's just teaching by proxy. You know, they see the people's tweets that do well, they see their friends succeeding here and they copy them, they mimic the techniques. So it's like explicit teaching, and then it's just also learning by proximity too.
Do you have cases where people, like someone is good at something and he can make a course, he can do something else, and you kind of encouraging those people to do it, or it's very kind of natural?
Yeah, we don't really have we haven't had much experience of encouraging people to create resources yet, or like teaching resources yet. No, one of the problems with trying to encourage communities to do something is that you have to do it one to one person. Because if I say, hey guys, we need a guide on, we need someone to teach everyone how to write good tweets, then you're going to get 1,000 low quality guides on how to tweet well. And that doesn't really stick because none of them, you know, it's just too, the choices are too high. People get fatigue, copy fatigue, or like a content fatigue, and one doesn't really rise to the top. So it's like you almost need to just go specifically to one person and just be like, can you write about how to, or can you teach people about this specific thing? Which we've done a little bit of, but no, not a huge amount yet.
That's a good point. Like
Mm.
active approaching attract a lot of junk. Another thing is about the mascot and kind of visual language, and so both the visual language and the language, how it's all got started, like how are you thinking about the different mascots? And I love it, you know, like there is the dog, there is the frog, but how did you start it? I mean, I guess it was an evolution. Like how did it start, how you're thinking about it?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that we needed a mascot from day one. And so, you know, we hit the drawing board and I tried some stuff and we got some different artists to try some stuff. We must have tried, you know, we must have gotten like 30 or 40 different versions of different animals and different things. Um, and we tried some of them in the Discord, you know, in this top-down mentality, like, hey guys, what about this guy? Like, use him in your memes or something like that. And it just failed every time. You know, no one really cared. And so we went along, and then in the middle of last year, I can't remember who, it was Sapphire, one of our community members called Sapphire. They dropped a PNG, like an image file in the Discord of a little hedgehog with kind of the Pepe face. He was, you know, cute and also, you know, a bit like stupid looking. And so it just caught on fire and people loved it. And then from that, you know, that's where, you know, people started using it. It was bottom up, like the community started talking about it. They started photoshopping the hedgehog into, you know, old memes, like war memes, like random events in history. It was really, really good. So from that, then like everything else spawned. And I guess the real lesson there is that it's like, it's bottom up, you know, it came grassroots. Someone was excited about it. Someone else was excited about it. They started doing that. And then it's almost like they did it against our will in a weird way, which made it cool. You know, if the school teacher says that something is cool, then it's definitely not cool. So I think that that's kind of been the theme that we've ran with. You know, the community created some kind of fly recently, like a house fly. And we were like, no, this is awful. We can't do that. And then that made them want to do it even more. And so now that's become like massive in the community.
Yeah, so funny. And how the G monad or nads, I guess it started in the same way, like evolved in the same way.
Yeah, I think so. That was a little bit more top down. That was quite easy. It was just, um, you know, some kind of obvious evolutions of previous memes. Some of the magic there from the team that kind of came up with different things, and then just seeing if it sticks. And then it did stick. And so yeah, it's been running with us now for almost 2 years as well.
Wow, that's cool. Okay, we are coming to the end. I mean, I have another question about the physical versus not physical, and then maybe if anyone else have questions. But so how do you think about physical, like physical meetings, physical I mean mainly physical meetings? And because I see you're very active in events, very active in merch, like do you think physical have a special importance, and what is the importance versus digital only?
Yeah, so my thinking is kind of changing with this. I think that physical events are incredibly powerful to solidify pre-existing relationships. I think that activation energy needed to make a friend in IRL and with the real life is quite high. You need to go up to them and say, "Hey, I'm this guy. Like, what do you do?" Like, see if you kind of gel, and it might be loud or whatever it is. So it's quite hard. If you have met someone online and you've talked to them, you know kind of what they enjoy, you know what makes them laugh, you know what NFTs they're interested in, that kind of thing. Then when you do meet them in real life, you instantly have a bond. You instantly are kind of good friends, and it's like you're meeting a friend for the first time. So that's what we've been focusing on, is meetups of people who hold like significant community status, or community status in general. Like 30 or 40 people just met up in Belgium or from all around Europe. These people all already knew each other, and we all had an amazing time because everyone was already friends.
So you're prioritizing the physical meetings for people that made some progress on the virtual side, like basically are already very active, and you
Yeah,
have low chance for random people that came to do some mess or something. So all of those people are already very, very nuts, and then like they are meeting in the in real life, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the key. We've had some events where it's just been, welcome to Monad or whatever it is, and it's just not as useful use of the time. Um, you know, People come in and just like, what is Monad? Like, who are you guys? What's going on? How do I join? And then they maybe get some food and drinks and have a good time, and then they leave and they never join the community. It doesn't work well to onboard as much as it works to solidify pre-existing relationships.
Wow, that's a good point. Like first to get people like prove their loyalty and love through
Yep.
Discord, and then like the people that already there, like to not to do like events for random people, but events like the Foundry, for example. The Foundry is a good example. Like people that are
Yeah.
very big fans and supporters of Monad, to bring them together, and then they even more.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's the key.
Okay, Moshe, Eden, or Nate, do you have questions?
Actually, two questions that I have. So I think the first one is, you hear a lot about lately different communities and projects that are building so-called real culture and community, but in many cases it's kind of hard to distinguish, or at least to know for sure, that the community that is being created is actually substantial enough, strong enough, real enough, that after a potential slowdown in hype or after TGE, the community will still uh, keep to be active on the project. So, like, would love to hear your thoughts about that, especially like how do you think Monad, for example, is a community that almost like a differentiator from others, or in general in crypto?
Yeah. So I think the key thing for that is the interconnectedness of members. The connectedness that they feel towards us or towards Monad, is powerful. Like, that's what a traditional kind of hype will look like. But the real important thing is their connectedness towards other members and their social graph they have created while at Monad and with different Monad like ecosystem projects. I think that, like, if the hype dies off on one thing, then the social graph is powerful enough to pull them into different things around the ecosystem or whatever's happening with like the values that we hold. So as long as the community is large and has really strong interconnected like social graphs, then if like anything happens, they will stay as a unit. Like that, the power of having their friends the power of having their opportunities, their routines, their rituals all in one place is enough to kind of coast or carry them along any kind of potential downsides.
Amazing. And another question, like I think many projects, we have this general idea in crypto about mass adoption and being able to onboard non-crypto natives necessarily to the projects and taking part of the community. So in the case of Monad, if you've been asked to kind of identify or explain the persona of the average community member, would you say, are they more crypto natives? Will you be able successfully to onboard people who are not familiar with crypto at all? Like kind of dive in deeper into the members and profiles of the Monad community.
Yeah, so our community is mostly probably like, so the best communities have mixtures of everything, right? They have old people and young people and skilled and unskilled and, funny and serious and men and women. So you kind of want like the largest cross section of people possible. So we have a very large cross section in that regard. And then the general things that would differentiate them is that they are crypto native most of the time. They understand the landscape of crypto products. They know, what different protocols in DeFi do. They know how to, use wallets. They know how to like revoke transactions and everything that keeps them kind of safe and active in crypto. The ones that have a high opportunity cost to spend a lot of time in a community are like the traders and the people who are like farming DeFi and things like that. So we don't have as many of those people because they're out doing that. And then we don't have a lot of people who are like, working full time in Web2 or who are not fully crypto native. So I think the key is like with those people that we do have, the 30,000, 40,000 or whatever, if we're able to create an amazing experience for them, upskill them slightly, then the knock-on effect is that they tell their friends and their friends tell their friends, or they show their friends a meme or something from our community, and then that's how they get onboarded. So we're not specifically going out, like it's too much time for me to go and talk to one person, but it's very easy for me to talk to a high quality community member and say like, we should do more TikTok videos, or we should look at providing like trading education. And then that person can go and like create a network of people that help them with that.
Yeah, the idea of like getting community members to prove themselves and then do stuff with them is very, very smart idea. For sure.
Yeah, just like as like kind of an end note, like how do you see the community of Monad in 5 years from now? What's kind of the end vision for that, just to understand the total picture?
I'd say it's like a proliferation into specific sub communities. I think that it takes a lot to continually put different people with different people, and they end up wanting to be with the same people. So I'd say there will be kind of sub communities. There'll be DAOs who are interested in governance. There will be, social layer kind of type like party or like event people. There will be trading people. There will be, the DeFi people who made friends out of the Monet community, and they rode whatever wave happens. So I think it's going to be like a large branching out and kind of isolation of different groups potentially. Ideally, the dream is just to have like a fully functioning, like actual human community online, a place where you go for everything. Like there's doctors there, there's lawyers there, there's traders there, there's people in your country there, there's people in the country that you're hoping to go to, there's information. It's all searchable and readily available for people to kind of just have an online community. There's events and things, and you can just, like a nation state almost, you can just be a part of this community wherever you are in the world.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I had a quick question. So you mentioned building communities and incentivizing them with time pressure and FOMO. So how would you go about doing this if you're planning on like a fair launch where everyone has the same access regarding disregarding like how early you are or
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak too much to any of the specifics, but I think that the crypto industry has a lot of problems with, Sybils and bots and farmers and multiple accounts and bad actors and things like that. And so we want to keep it as fair as possible and prioritize community members always, because they are the ones that have contributed and helped us get to where we are. I think that's the general idea around that. Yeah.
Okay, so but like just even like just thinking outside of Monad, right? If there's you let's say like a meme coin and you're building a community and you have and you're planning on a fair launch where you just like share the contract address and people can just go and buy whatever they want. Oh, like and everyone has the same access to it. Is there a way to build that, FOMO and time pressure, even though everyone, regardless of if you've been in the community for weeks or if you're just like seeing what's happening right now, is there a way for people to kind of incentivize and give that FOMO and time pressure?
I think so. I do think so, but you've got to kind of ask the question on whether you do want to distribute to people that have helped you in no way or are completely familiar with you up until the point at which you posted about distributing. And then you've kind of got to gauge on like whether you want maximum distribution through some kind of smart techniques around limiting distribution amounts to specific nodes or wallets or whatever. Or if you just want to like let the secondary distribution happen through different community members or what have you. That's kind of like a different area that I'm not super involved in, but there's arguments for both, and I think the community kind of has like a lot of, they're obviously one-sided where it's like, well, why would you want to distribute to someone that has not ever done anything with us and we don't recognize and isn't going to be aligned with our values and all of those kind of critiques. But then again, you don't want to limit your distribution in any kind of way. You want everyone to be, able to become aligned and become like part of your culture.
Yeah, thank you.
All good.
I have one more question. So, when you first started, your community, and you had 200 people, 300 people, and you were kind of like, you said like 200, 300 messages a day.
Yeah.
So I have like two questions regarding that. Like, how did you get those 200 to 300 initial people in? And what type of messages were you sending to them? Was it kind of like explaining what Monad was? Or was it more of like a, hey, how are you? Like, how's your day? Like, what brings you here and stuff like that?
So the first question, how do you get those first few hundred people? They come generally quite easily if you do your launch right, if you market it well enough, if you use time pressure, scarcity, and FOMO. Discord only open for 2 days, DM now, or whatever it is, share that to your network, get them all to share that. And then like some kind of secret key that incites a little bit of buzz, wouldn't want to miss out on this, things like that. You'll be able to get 200, 300, 400 people. There's a big subsection of the community or the crypto community that just go from project to project and they want to test everything out and they want to be first. There's lots of value to being first in a project, so that's not super hard. Activating them is the hard part. Keeping them around is the hard part. Those messages do have to be crazy messages. You have to be the life of the party. Imagine 200 people showed up to your party and you're the guy in the middle who's juggling and telling people that they should meet each other and saying like, oh, let's play a card game, let's go down to the let's go up to the roof, let's go out to the sun, like the guy that's leading everything and creating fun. You've got to be like, point people out, like that was a great piece of art, you need to make stickers, like pointing to someone else, like you need to go and tweet about this, you're great at tweeting, we'll give you a role for that. You just need to be like almost like schizophrenic in your approach to just constantly talking and creating fun in those early days. Like you're the person that is going to be the friend that people want to come back to.
Yeah, super insightful. Thank you very much.
All good, all good.
Yeah, this was amazing, Bill. Thank you so much for coming, and I think these lessons will, it's like 95% of crypto projects, have a lot to learn from. So it's very, very nice, and a lot of people can learn from it. And thank you so much for sharing with us everything. And yeah.
Awesome, no problem. Thank you so much for having me on. These were great questions that really cut to the kind of, cut to the ethos of actually building real communities. I really appreciate having such great questions and such kind welcome.